Hey, howdy, hi, hello, hola, привет, bonjour, guten Tag, what is up, Vikings? How goes it? Hello, Gio and Gavin. Welcome to the stream, you guys. Sunday Hangout. I'm gonna kind of go over the chart that was on the last video today a little bit, as well as some of the other stuff. I guess the game ID affects shards chart. I will be kind of going over that and getting some of your guys' feedback with that as well. Was really a lot of information in that video, and was just kind of surprising, really. So that's kind of what I got for today. I hope your guys' weekend went good, or has gone good. I guess it's still the weekend. Oof. And that you had an amazingly awesome home game if you played it. So there is all that. It's been an interesting week. Man. And let me see. We've got roughly 10 days until Christmas. Hello, yellow. We've got roughly 10 days until Christmas. So, man, just gracious. Real quick, kind of plug here. If you guys can, please, 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 check out the links. Hello, Charlotte. There's the GoFundMe link, which was just dropped. Of course, been doing that for a minute. There's also the merch shop now that is open, and paid memberships. I'm working on getting a different site, so there's actually a website that will link it all together in one place. kind of your one-stop bone shop. Might have some other stuff coming out soon. I'm contemplating some ideas that you guys might be interested in. I don't know. We'll find out. But the new stuff will allow me to do like merch giveaways, so I can give you guys stuff aside from Polarium or Vikings. So, oh man, I'm good. Busy. Okay, so, like I said earlier, be going over the game IDs affecting shards in OS. So, the video was kind of nuts. I haven't done a video like that. Well, I haven't done a analytic video like that for a while. I've never done a one second. There we go. All right. I've never done a PowerPoint presentation. I've never done a PowerPoint presentation on YouTube, so that was kind of nerve-wracking. But I really wanted to like be able to sit down with you guys and discuss the chart as a whole. I don't have all of the charts pulled up, as I would need to like screenshot and then size down and then screenshot and size down, rinse, repeat, etc. That was like an all-day endeavor to get that video out, just because it was a lot of translating and then a lot of processing the information, as well as recording it in multiple stages to slap it all together and then send it to you guys. But the outcome of like what Synthesitor's clan did with those tests were phenomenal. So I want to kind of go over that. There were some questions in the community that I saw, and there were things that I didn't think of at the time when it came to making the video. I mean, like it was a 6-hour long endeavor to make that video. So, anyways, let me pull some stuff up here. Man. Okay. So this right here, no fancy animations to it, just pure raw information. Okay. So, I wanted to, like, one of the reasons I wanted to go through this today is because I know when us streamers do videos, it's hard to see the information on the screen. I mean, unless you're like Mike over there putting me on the big screen in your living room, or hey dude, chili dogs are delicious. Unless you're like Mike over there putting me on the big screen TV, or I mean you're watching on a PC, and even watching on a PC, some of these numbers are considerably harder to view. So I wanted to like go through this with you guys so we can break it down and and then also like discuss this, because so it was kind of mind-boggling the way that this information presented itself. And I mean, there were a full good 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 second. Give me a minute. I need to pull up a reference thing. Let me see. Downloads. There we go. Oh, I don't care. Shut up. Bleh. Oh, you're gonna be dumb. Good Lord. Give me a minute. How do I... Oh, you. Close you. 1 second. Microsoft's being stupid. Okay. There we go. All right. Pardon my little... All right. What is up, WT? It is awesome you are here. Home gang is actually going fairly good for us. Give me a second. I'm like trying to divert attention in multiple places. Okay, so WT being here is super awesome because WT is the oldest account in these tests. I'm sorry. I laugh, but it's not funny. I mean, I know how that is. I'm the oldest account out of Amber and me. So, like, I sympathize. WT, give me a minute. I need to pull up something else. All right. Okay. All right. So, couple things. One, like, well, okay. Before I do that, I'm gonna shamelessly plug something. So, as you guys know, there is a GoFundMe account up. I am also working on a website. Quick thing here. Just so you guys kind of get an idea of what I am doing in the interim time here. So, I'm making a Berserkr Bones Lodge website. This will be the place where all memberships will be through this now. So, there will be no multiple links. All memberships will be through this. All donations will go through this. Of course, it will also link YouTube, so latest YouTube videos and stuff will be on there. I will be doing a newsletter through this. And also there will be merch. So like I said earlier, it will be the one stop bone shop. Basically, hello! Basically, so everything as far as merch, memberships, stuff like that will be there. The cool thing about this is it will allow me to do merch giveaways. So I can give you guys stuff. So like there's just way more possibilities. So I'm kind of working through that as well. So all right. So here we go. The onslaughts. So there were a total, and WT, I hope you're still here, because if I get something wrong, correct me. Oh, all right. So now in Synthesitor's video, there were a total of, oh, for the love of God, there we go, 6 onslaughts. Also, there were, and I know you guys can't see that. It's, don't ignore me. It's fine. But like, you know, and it went everything from like account strength order to the onslaught breakdowns of T7, T8, unsuccessful, successful. The amount of shards earned and lost, troops lost, account strength, and other stuff that literally broke down why this was not like what the differences were. So, oh man. All right. I'm gonna 1 minute. I knew this was gonna happen. Okay. All right. Translator's still working. Awesome. So, I can do this. Boom. And 1 second. This. And stupid pop-up stuff. And we'll go here. Oh. All right. So, there we go. We're just going to do some of this stuff. I'm going to make this like, you know, easier. Easier step by step as we go. Привет, hello! All right. Oh. Oh, man. Yes, new giveaway for Vikings. Old ID'd accounts. Or new ID'd accounts. Oh, man, all right. So, here's roughly how this information looks. And this is it being filtered down by oldest ID or by account strength to weakest, from strongest to weakest. I'm resizing the wrong stuff. So give me a minute. All right, so like going from account strength from strongest to weakest. Now, like one of the things that people were saying is, hey Lou, one of the things that people were saying was that like well, did strength factor in certain things? As in, like, did strength factor in, like, town skins or runes or good lord, hero skin for the love of God? Yes. And I can say yes because one, SPQRF is a very competitive, strong top clan. They're not going to be like scrambling with people in baggy and building gear to join an onslaught. I mean, it's not going to happen. I mean, that wouldn't happen in Red either. Wouldn't happen in Spartak. Like, these guys know their stuff. They're going to check their hero skins. They're going to check their gear. They're going to check their town skins. Anything and everything at all that can cause any sort of discrepancy in strength is going to be checked, double-checked, rechecked before they go to battle. That's just like, I mean, not saying mistakes don't happen, but when you start to notice discrepancies as big as these, like the losses and the shards earned, and you start to notice these big gaps in differences between strength and other stuff, you start checking all sorts of stuff. I've almost sworn like 5 times saying all that. I gotta quit saying the word stuff or the word SH, other thing is gonna come out. Alright, so like, when you start looking at account strength, you start looking at stuff like this. Exactly, especially when you're specifically testing something. When you are looking for one outcome and trying to explain it, you start checking every minute little detail. So, when it comes down to a breakdown of this, the T7 and T8, offense, health, defense, this culminates everything. Your town skins, your hero skins, your gear, your runes, your Asir bonus if you have an Asir going, your repute, everything will affect these numbers that you see right here. Now, the reason I can say that absolutely is because if you do, for instance, one second. If you do, for instance, this. We'll go for the love of Jesus. There. All right. We'll go T7. Oh my God, they move so slow. There we go. And we'll go T8. Because, why not? All right. So, it shows on a successful attack. And these, of course. So, your T7, offense, defense, health. That is going to factor in absolutely everything that will influence a battle on a town. Everything. Everything. So your offense during an attack, your offense during an attack on town, your health during an attack, health during an attack on town, defense during an attack, defense during an attack on town. It's going to show even more on an onslaught. So, like, when it comes to, like, factoring all of this stuff in, like your rune bonuses, everything, absolutely everything. So, like, the other side of this is, I gotta remember where my town's parked. All right. The other side of this is like Amber said. Like, most competitive top clans literally spreadsheet everything. Everything from like how much of a bonus a town skin gives at a certain level. Top clans, the leadership can literally break down exactly who is the strongest at the smallest minute aspect of the game in their clan. I mean, like, everything from who's going to be the stronger of the strongest of the tile hitters, for instance. They can tell you exactly which account's going to hit a tile the hardest. They can tell you which account's going to hit a town the hardest with scouts or troops, what troop type would be better, etc., etc., etc. Exactly. They can literally break it down in your account and tell you where you're lacking, what you need to do better if you want to be stronger, and so on and so forth. So, looking at like sheets like this, it then goes in order of account strength. Right here. Blip. Synthesizer right there being the strongest. WT or Michelle on the chart, they're second. Grandfather, third. Spirit, fourth. And it literally continues to go down. Oh, I don't even know where my account would rank in strength, to be honest. I'm not sure I want to know. So like the offense, health, defense, T7, T8, break it down by account strength, and then you start seeing some weird stuff. So the account strength is really, like, if you look, most people would be like, well, the reason right here, Synthesizer got so many shards is because he's the strongest account. Fair enough. But here's a question. Like, where you start seeing weird stuff is this. So, Synthesizer, strongest account. Yes. That name right there is Michelle. That is WT. So, where you start seeing the difference here is like, for instance, so if you're like, well, of course, the strongest account got the shards. Fair enough. Synthesizer got 107 million on an unsuccessful T8 OS. Michelle got 6.2 million on an unsuccessful T8 OS. But if you look at strength down here, for instance, Spirit got 42.9 million shards on an unsuccessful T8 OS. So, if it's going by account strength, why is the fourth strongest account getting more shards than the second strongest account? Like, why? Like, how? If everything that we have seen where people say, well, the stronger the account, the more shards they get are, in a town OS, this blows that out of the water. Because figuratively, looking right in here, I don't know what happens if I click on this. So right in here. Oh, yeah, it's going to be dumb. All right. Anyways. So figuratively, if it went by account strength, we reverted back to this. If you look at this, T8OS, and here's Synthesizer, Michelle, Spirit. Look at the difference between Michelle right here at number 2, 96K offense. Spirit at 94, 90K offense. 6.9K difference. There's a 6.9K difference. Regularly all the way through. Offense, offense. Health, health. Defense, defense. Like these numbers in here. Like right there and right there. Like there's a huge discrepancy in the numbers. So if where people are saying, well, the strongest account will always get the shards, why didn't in here unsuccessful T8OS, why is the discrepancy right here between Michelle's shards at 6.2 million? Why is the 4th strongest account, Spirit, getting 42.9 million more, like, in shards? There's a, hang on, I will math this insanity out. I'm not sure who the setter was. Like, we know setter relatively will always hit first. So, give me a second. 42,991, 647 minus 6,262,830. There is a 36.7 million shard discrepancy. Here's like this number is nuts. That's the discrepancy right there. That is the shard difference between those two accounts. On an unsuccessful T8 onslaught, the 4th strongest account got 36,728,817 more shards than the 2nd strongest account. So then, and I mean, we're not done here because it gets weirder. So then you look at like successful onslaughts. The successful onslaughts right here. Oh, Michelle, I am so sorry for your loss. So, oh, I laugh. I'm one of those like horrified laughers. You tell me someone died in a horrified car crash, and so help me God, I will giggle. Just kind of how this works. Okay, so successful T8 onslaught. Successful T8 onslaught. This is successful right here. Keep that in mind. So Michelle, again, right there. Oh, wait, no, right here. Right here. So, second in account strength on a successful T8 onslaught, got 9.2 million shards and lost 160 out of 200 million troops. So 80%. She lost her 80%. That means the 9.2 million shards are from the 20% of troops that came back after 80% of the march was lost. Now, the fourth strongest account, Spirit, got 120 million shards and lost 34 million troops. So, like, not only did the second strongest account lose their march, they lost 80% of their march and got less shards, but the fourth strongest account earned more shards and lost less troops. So figuratively, if a battle was sorted by strength, none of this would make sense. Like, if the order of hitting went purely by strength, none of this would make sense. So then, T7 OS, and this is with Syntisitor wearing Inga. This is what kills me. Syntisitor wearing Inga. Like, I died when I saw this, because don't like it, turn your volume down. So here's the thing. Syntisitor wearing Inga lost 0 troops on success and earned 20 million shards. Michelle, I know, Michelle earned 4 million shards and lost 160 million troops. So then you literally, what's up, Phil? You literally lost your troops and got less shards than somebody wearing Inga. And then the fourth strongest account, again, 37 million shards, no losses. So again, the fourth strongest account outproves the second strongest account. Syntisitor in Inga had more success getting shards and not losing troops than the second strongest account. Not necessarily, because, like, think about it. Not really, because if they fought first, how come they have 0 losses? If they fought first, they would have hit and troops would have died. Or the second and third wouldn't have had 160 million losses. Like, if it went in the order from strongest to weakest, like, you would see these right here all be flopped around, like, by this number changing. The troop number would change. Like, literally, he would lose more troops if he fought first. Like, that's it. Comparatively, considering that, considering that, like, Michelle lost troops, grandfather lost troops, and then, like, literal down here, there and there. Like, So he killed troops, but he didn't lose any troops. Okay, so looking at this again, breaks down by account strength once again. Successful OS, unsuccessful, successful, troop lost on success, successful OS, T7, Synthesizer, and Inga, troop lost on success. So basically, when you look down at the analytics, bam. When you look down the analytics of these, figuratively, everybody that fights first would lose troops. The more troops they lose, generally the order would fit that they're fighting before the ones that lost least. So, because it then also factors in how many shards are earned. Because if you fight in a specific order, the more shards earned means the farther back in the order you are, because, like, if you scout a town and you're taking scouts out, you'll notice your shards climb because of the simple fact there's less troops in the town by the time your troops hit. So, in order of fighting like this, that would mean everybody that lost 160 million troops literally fought before the ones, like, so it would be like 1, 2, 3, and then fourth one to hit at 23 million losses, and then the zeros come in. Because that would mean by the time after these other 4 hits, that there were no troops left there to potentially kill their troops. So that would mean, like, their troops aren't dying. They are literally pillaging what troops are left over from the troops that hit first. Generally, that's when you start seeing, like, the smaller numbers dwindle down. You don't see a lot of death, but you see a lot of kills. And so like, it notes that on success, the people with the higher troop loss on success are the people that are generally hitting first. That's how the analytics break down. So then we get into this Tom screwery. Oh, man. So when you start looking at game ID and you start seeing a correlation between the number here and the numbers in here. Like, all of these numbers start to find an order that actually breaks down and works to make sense of what you're seeing in the mechanic. Yes, exactly. So then, with that, right in here with the game ID, sorted from oldest to newest, 1 being the oldest, 10 being the newest, is where we get this. 1 second. Boom. Sorting this by ID number. Whoop. So, oldest being number 1, newest being number 10. Synthesizer being the newest account. Michelle being the oldest account. Spirit actually falls in, since I've been using him for a example in this. down here at like number 6. So when you start looking at it with IDs in order from oldest to newest, you can start seeing the hit order and how it makes sense. And I say that because of this. These zeros right here. Troop loss on success shows you the order not only by shards in, like, from shards earned, but by troops lost. So, like, Michelle, for instance, account strength second strongest in the clan, oldest game ID, 2.8 million on an unsuccessful T7, 6.2 million on an unsuccessful T8, on a successful T8, 9.2 million shards, with 160 million losses, successful T7 OS, with one person being an Inga, 4.1 million shards, and 160 million losses. When you go down to the 4th strongest account, and I'm using, like, Spirit again because he's who I've been, like, using aside from Synthesizer all the way through this, the 4th strongest account down here has the 6th oldest ID, 7.7 million shards on unsuccessful T7, 42.9 million shards on unsuccessful T8, 120 million shards on successful T8 OS, with 34 million losses, so they broke out shard positive. 37 million shards on a successful T7 OS with 0 loss. 0 losses. You don't see 0 losses on the successful until the 9th strongest account hits the 7th oldest ID on a successful T8 OS. 0 losses, successful T7 OS at the 5th oldest account, 7th strongest. But these being filtered down and sorted by oldest ID to newest ID, if you look at the account strength is all over the board. Strength at that point doesn't matter. Literally does not matter. Right here, when you look at the filter order down, account strength, 2nd strongest, 3rd strongest, 10th strongest, 8th strongest, 7th strongest, 4th, 9th, 5th, 6th, 1st. More shards on... Which one, Mike? Let me see. We'll go Spirit, 6th. I would guess it is because hit order. So, like, because there's less troops there. If you look at it, right here, because there's less troops to kill. Plain and simple. There's less troops to kill, so of course. Like, on a successful, by the time you get down into here, there's less troops to kill. So the amount of shards will start to vary greatly. If I hit before you on a successful and I kill 120 million troops and you kill like 110 million because there's less troops there for you to kill, I'm gonna get more shards. So like the discrepancies in the shards start to make more sense on the successful, but the account strength is still whack. The account strength is still all over the place. Exactly. Like, there's gonna be a sweet spot or a tipping point because there always is. But also, like, what this showed me was it also explained a lot of stuff that Amber and I were seeing in our onslaughts in Yacht. As I covered, like, last Sunday, Amber has a ID that starts in 4-9. My ID starts in 1-6. Yeah, absolutely. Give me a minute. Let me pull this up. Whoop. So, like I said, Amber has an account that ends in or starts in 4-9. I have one that starts in 1-6. Consistently in onslaughts, she gets more shards than me with my main troop type than I do. And I mean, obviously, that's not a perfect example because of the simple fact of, like, I mean, we don't have the exact same number of troops in, etc., etc. But here you go, Mike. I can actually show you them in descending order too. Give me a minute. I think mine, I'm not sure what mine is. I don't know how many digits it is. I never use my ID. Oh, mine's still at 8 digits, so I mean, there's that, I guess. The 6th and 8th. Oldest? Okay. 6th and 8th oldest. So, hello! Here we go. I'm going to drop names in chat because it's going to be easier to keep track of them. 6th and 8th. Okay. There's two names there, so don't know. There's the 6th and the 8th oldest accounts. Here we go. Strength-wise. 6th and the 8th oldest accounts are here. At 4th and 5th strongest accounts. They're actually right next to each other. Right here. Oh, I mess everything up. Right there. Those two. Oh, for the love of God, man. These two right here. Correct. But looking here, boom. At the 6th, right? 6th and 8th. 6th and 8th are I did say 6th and 8th, right? Yeah, 6th and 8th. So here, give me a minute. Right there, 4th. You say 4th and 6th? Trying to keep track of the chat at the same time and it moves. Sixth and 8th oldest. Okay, So here, 6th and 8th oldest right there are 5th and 4th in account strength. 4th and 5th right there. The difference in hello, what's up, Detroit? The difference here is that look at account strength wise versus age of account. 6th and 8th, literally 4th and 5th strongest accounts, and they're getting consistently more shards than the strongest and oldest account, or the second strongest and oldest account. Consistently more shards. And on successful, they're consistently having less death. Like, looking at the chart, I would say absolutely Spirit has that sweet spot here. No, here. Right there. Comes out shard positive on successful T8 OS. Definitely shard positive on successful T7 OS, as, you know, 0 losses, which oh. So, like, I mean, and on unsuccessful, I mean, unsuccessful just kind of sucks in general. But if you look here, they are literally right smack in the middle all the way across by strength and then by ID. It could. I mean, right there. He's literally right smack in the middle. I mean, 4th strongest account. I mean, 2,000 lower than Synthesizer and 10,000 higher. So, like, I mean, I don't, like, the only way that this really makes sense is when we start looking at this chart right here. Bam. Yes, exactly. So, like, I mean, putting it in order from here to here, now, like, one of the things is I am fairly certain that they also all did not join in the same order every time. Am I right, WT? Like, you didn't necessarily set a specific exact order and all join in that order? Or did order factor into what you did? No specific. Okay. Like, so, because here's the thing. In the discrepancy when Amber and I noticed her using bows with cavalry gear, her having cavalry repute, and me having bows repute plus bows gear and the correct shaman, it didn't matter if I joined after her or before her. I still lost all my troops and got less shards. So, like, I guarantee that will not be the denial. The denial will be this. I can literally type out the denial. It will be right here. Because that has always been the big thing. Cannot disclose nor confirm battle mechanics. That's always like, that has literally always been the thing for 9 years. Cannot disclose how battles are decided. They can't. They won't. They refuse. So like, I mean, the big thing is yes, absolutely. Test. Like, test it. Amber and I have seen it in our clan, like her and I joining in different places. Her and I joining with each other's troop types. And yet consistently, she gets more shards than me and less death on like even successful onslaughts. Showing exactly what Syntizitor showed in his test. Like, the only thing that literally makes sense, like, well, I mean, we do the same. It's just kind of standard practice, I think. We all join it with the same exact troop type as well. Troop type and tier. So, the only thing that I can possibly feasibly make sense is that when, like, we remember when Asgard came out and we all got stuck in that infamous tower queue. We all had the whole thing waiting for battle order or battle queue, essentially, is that the mechanic for an onslaught does the same thing. It literally stacks the troops in the onslaught in a battle queue to hit in a specific order. Now, why exactly the battle in progress? Same thing. It is literally stacking the accounts by game ID that the game ID is how the system identifies which accounts will hit first for the battle in progress queue. Literally will drop aside from onslaught setter, because we know the setter always hits first. Every time. The setter will always hit first. Literally goes 1, 2, and so on and so forth. The order would follow game ID. Not account strength. Exactly. The query on the list in the queue. Not account strength like we would originally believe it to be, but the order of onslaught battles are going to go by game ID. It is going to sort the oldest accounts into the front, the newer accounts into the back. Now, figuratively, if you want the best results, figuratively, the strongest should hit first, because they're going to take more troops with their troops, is the thought. But, I mean, like, this just shows us that it factors in... Sorry, it should be ordered like this. Bam. Should be ordered like this. There we go. From 1 to 10, you'd think the weakest would be the last to hit. They would be the last one to hit. And the strongest would be the first to hit. Or the opposite. Or it would factor into the opposite and go into the favor of the defender and go weakest hits first, strongest hits last. Figuratively, the attacker side would want the strongest to hit first because of the simple fact of you're going to have a better chance of a successful OS versus the weaker to hit first. Like, so, I mean, see, as a leader, you'd send your weaker to hit in first. That's if you're hitting. If you're being hit, you'd want the weakest. Oh, well, okay, so you'd do it reverse order anyway. But, I mean, like, the game doesn't even give us a choice of that. The game merely factors it in to ID, leaving the oldest IDs quite literally at a potentially crap advantage to this because they are hitting literally all of the meat first. Every single bit of it. So, like, I mean, it was really kind of, like, eye-popping. And thank you to I Smell Smoke, who tagged me in Discord and showed me the original video by Synthesizer, because it was really eye-popping seeing the results and how much they varied based on game IDs. Exactly. If you're sending multiple onslaughts in anyway, you're going to want the strongest accounts to hit first because you're going to want to break it. But this just factors it in, doesn't even necessarily factor it in by strongest or biggest. It factors it in by oldest. Now, I believe if all of them... I think if all the accounts were created around the same time, like, I mean, my game ID is... right here. Hello, Platroy! So say my game ID is this. Alright. Then say... Well, I mean, you can't have the same game ID, so it doesn't matter. Say yellow's game ID is this. And Mike's ID is this. If this is all correct, for every onslaught the three of us were in together, I would always be the first to hit. Always. Because out of the three, literally 1 to 2 numbers difference, I have the oldest ID. So, I mean, like, and then yellow would always hit before Mike. Again, 1 number difference. Slightly older. Literally seconds older if you look at account creation. So it would be seconds older. And then Mike would hit. So, like, the battle order at this point would be concrete. It would never change because it would always filter down by older ID to newest ID. The mechanic would be solid for everything. Every single onslaught. Now, the interesting thing would be to see if this is just a town OS function or if this is a fortress OS, like if it's an OS function in general. So, like, I mean, that's the other big thing. Is it an OS function in general, or is it a town onslaught function in general? Does it affect every onslaught the same? Or is it just something that is specific to the location of town onslaughts? I mean, granted, it's a little harder to check that because, I mean, normally if you hit a fortress, you just send your best troops. So, I mean, of course, the results would vary. However, if, like, say we all onslaughted a fortress with bows, if we all onslaughted a fortress with bows, then, I mean, think about it. Again, if this order right there, if that order is still correct for every onslaught, that would mean my troops are always going to hit first before yellow, then yellow's troops, and then Mike's troops. And that's using that as an example. That would mean that order is always going to stay true for every single onslaught that the three of us participate in. I'm always going to hit before yellow. Yellow would always hit before Mike, etc., by game ID. That could be like the big mechanic breakdown right there to the game. I mean, like, I'm kind of like really hoping not. But exactly. So you'd think like you would figuratively want the older accounts, and I mean, by nature, most older accounts would be stronger than newer accounts. And Michelle, that's not a dig at you at all. Like, now, if you make the youngest account the setter, the order would flip. So, like Detroit said, we all know order goes like this. Hit order is always OS setter first. So this would dictate that the order goes as follows. I forgot I can't use that set of my keyboard. Controls my streaming. So that would mean, so as we know, like this would literally change that order. If the newest ID was the OS setter, they would always hit first. Well, I mean, the OS setter always hits first, regardless. And then it would go in order of like, then it would go in order of account. So, like, I mean, it's kind of like just mind-boggling. The fact that mechanics do not go by account strength, but merely by how old the account is. Like, that is utterly insane. All right, I'm going to take a real quick break, get a little bit more coffee, and use the bathroom. I will be back here shortly. Okay. So, what is up? Now, Sin, hello. So, Syntizitor, like stated, like when you set, you get less shards. I imagine, of course, when you set, you also lose more troops. So the order would quite literally flip. So if you put it in by the youngest account being the strongest, you can actually change the order of the onslaught. Figuratively, change the order of the onslaught. Slightly. You can slightly skew this. As long as... Hello, dead! As long as the newest account sets, and the newest account, of course, is strongest, you can slightly change... You can slightly change the order of how an onslaught hits. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to change a lot of the outcome of the onslaught, but you can change a lot of other tweaking stuff. So it really like shows, I mean, obviously this needs way more testing because like we were saying earlier, is this a location-specific onslaught mechanic, or is it a general onslaught mechanic? Now, fortresses are a little harder to test because, again, like I stated earlier, you don't necessarily always send the same exact troop type to a fortress onslaught. But if this is a specific onslaught function, it could quite literally skew the battle results in everything we do. As far as like what we know for battle results. So, I mean, like, if this is an onslaught function in general, and we pile in using best troop type, let's see, Mike, strongest troop type. I'm gonna use like us as an example again. Vexen, what's your troop type? Like your strongest, your main troop type. Oh. Cav, okay. We'll go. I will do this. Yeah. All right. So here's the thing. If Syntizitor, the link that dropped, the stream avatars link, the one that's dropped by this one right here, that one, you can change your avatar. Like, you can customize it. Give me a second. There we go. Okay, so if these are the troop types we are using, but say the order is game ID order, is so say that right there. That's like, so Mike's Cav, Yellow's Bones, or Yellow's Bows, Amber's Cavalry, I'm Bows, and the game ID order is Mike, Amber, me, Yellow. And we are literally joining an onslaught on a fortress that is stuffed full of infantry. If the game ID order dictates, and I'm taking OS setter out of this, but if the game ID order dictates that Mike and Amber hit first, we all know what happens when cavalry hits infantry. It does not go well for the cavalry. So if this is an onslaught mechanic, I'll like just pull this up here because it's just easier to use a notepad. 1 second. Oh, I can't use that. All right. I'll use this just because this is going to be easier to like. If one moment. All right. So, if we look at this on a fortress, unpin. Okay. If we look at this on a fortress, nope. Yep. All right. If the mechanic states that game ID hits first, the fortress is stuffed with melee, and by game order, that would mean that by ID order, that would mean Mike, then Amber, then me, then Yellow are going to hit. If this is a OS-wide mechanic, that would mean Mike and Amber's cavalry are going to smash into a fortress full of melee, if it's full of melee, first, before me, and yellow. In that descending order. Mike, amber, me, yellow. If that is the game ID order. Now, like, I mean, and I say a fortress full of melee because of the simple fact, most of us, when it comes to the gold marches in a fortress, you counter them. So it is entirely possible to hit a fortress full of melee with your troop type. So when you look at the fact that this could make this onslaught bounce, you would either need to A, counter the troop type in the fortress with its counter troop, like what's reinforcing it, same with pop, or you would need to all send like the same troop type. Like, so you'd counter it, obviously they're all sending the same troop type, or you would like have to sit down and break down like whose IDs are going where to hit what. If this is a general onslaught mechanic, so it could be that this is an onslaught mechanic and it breaks it down when you're all using the same type. This could be the onslaught mechanic in general. So far, like Amber said, we've only seen this outcome when OSing a town with the same troop type. But this is something that could progress over and carry into every onslaught we see. So, like, I mean, it definitely would venture for testing in a fortress as well as some other stuff. But if this is the general onslaught mechanic, it would be nice if it's sorted by account strength, either descending or ascending. Like, instead of by game ID functioning where accounts hit what, if it went by account strength, descending or ascending, it would be insane. Yes, so clearly the way to get around this is to build a new account every year. Oh, man. Oh. OS setter always will lose their troops first. OS setter always hits first, regardless of that. Now, if different troop types factor in by anti-troop, then obviously, in this instance, if a fortress full of melee, that would mean me and yellow would hit before Mike and Amber. But here's the thing. If the anti-troop are factored in, what is the order of the hit then? Does it still go by oldest ID? So that would mean I would hit before yellow, and then the next oldest of the other troop types would hit. So, like, I mean, if you look at it that way, it would still have to filter down by the battle queue of some way too. This quite literally would affect every single OS. So even if it went by anti-troop, that, and then by game ID, Then it would go... So, by anti-troop, it would go... The order would go like this. Me... This is like... That would mean it would go in the following order of me and yellow for the anti-troop of melee, and then game ID order again of Mike and Amber. Like, so figuratively, even if it sorts anti-troop first, the same order of game ID would still factor in. So, because the game ID would quite literally be the fixed mechanic. Game ID would be that absolute fixed point that then decides the order of everything else. If anti-troop goes first, then that would mean it would then filter down by game ID who in the anti-troop would hit first. And then in descending order till the anti-troop was gone, and then the next either like the 50 or 25, etc., 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 down the line. Oh, but you see how like this could make a huge difference in battles? Like if the mechanic is game IDs, it sorts stuff epically odd and weird. Oh, man. Gracious. All right. Anyways, that is essentially all I had. But see, it might not even be a programming problem. It might be quite literally how the mechanic was intended to work in order to put battles in order. Like no shadiness there at all. It might be just legitimately how battles are ordered. Okay. If that's exactly how battles are ordered, it's gonna be fixed. Like that's just it. It's fixed. It would be immovable, unchangeable, unless you have the newest ID. Literally break down all your onslaughts by player ID and have your newest ID set the onslaught every single time. Oh, anyways, that was all I had for today, you guys. I'm going to try to get a giveaway approved this week for Christmas. I'm going to try to do a Christmas giveaway. Try to get it approved. We'll see. Anyways, do me a favor. Check out the links that I'm about to drop. They can't. Your ID is fixed on your account. Do me a favor, check these out, you guys. Help any and every way you can. Share this around with your community. Boom. That is a link to the GoFundMe. There is also this right here. That is memberships. If you guys are interested, I don't know why Patreon does that. That is dumb. Anyways, link to memberships as well as a tipping page, and of course the merchandise shop. Forgot to do this. Losing my marbles. Check out the links. Merch shop, donations page, of course the membership page. Check those out. Links can always be found on the info section of YouTube right there. Any and all support is greatly appreciated so we can keep all the content going. Thank you guys for being here today and chilling it with me. There's definitely some more tests that could be done in the future on this, but if we want battle mechanics, of course, to change, instead of going based and functioned off of ID, we need to write support, drop support team a ticket. Shout out to Syntizitor and his clan for testing this and sorting it out. We definitely could use more tests for it. So I definitely would encourage other people to do their own testing as well. Anyways, I hope you guys have an amazingly awesome week. I will be putting information about a giveaway out at some point if it gets approved. I hope you guys have an awesome week, a great CVC, an amazing day, great rest of your home gang, and I will see you guys around in the community live stream on Thursday. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys later.